Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk to you guys about the reworks to Iron Man and Spider-Man, two iconic heroes. Now I know that a lot of people are still talking about the update as far as the new characters and the new uniforms for Homecoming Hobo Spidey, but I wanted to take a look at under the hood what skill changes and animation changes were made to Spider-Man and Iron Man that affect all or most of their uniforms, because not everyone has the Civil War Iron Man. Not everyone does have Hobo Spidey or even Civil War Spidey. Some people are still rocking the classic look. But, you know, keep in mind both characters did get changes that go all the way down to their roots, which is great, especially if you're new and you're just picking up these characters for the first time, or you don't have the crystals to invest right now in their latest uniforms. In addition, we did get updates recently for Black Widow and Captain America, and we saw the extent of how powerful these characters have now become, almost making it into the meta in some cases. So people are still waiting on reworks for native uniform and native looks for characters like Venom, I'm ignoring the uniform, Ultron, and others. But let's first take a look at what happened to Tony Stark. So before this upgrade, Tony was basically working with 0 iframes on his other looks. His newest uniform has 1 iframe on crash landing, and that's it. So very little survivability, good damage at tier 1, better damage at tier 2, but that's it. His tier 2 doesn't provide any survivability, so he was as glassy as you could get. However, now he packs a lot more survivability and a little bit more damage. All of his uniform looks now have the Unibeam guard hit effect. So just by, updating your game, you'll have that change. It goes all the way up to 5 hits for 3 seconds, which is not great. It's not Loki or Silk, but it's like Rhino, and it's useful in a pinch if you're about to get hit. You can kind of treat it as a very short, kind of 1 to 2 second iframe, because it'll protect you from a little bit of damage. It just won't interrupt the enemy's attacks. So if they're going to do a long animation, you're still going to take punishment once those first 5 hits have been absorbed. But that is very good. It also changed the animation a little bit. It causes Iron Man to move back when he uses it, so that gives you more space to then kite or use other skills. In addition, all of his uniforms aside from 2099 got an animation change to Missile Barrage, where he goes up like a roller coaster in a big circle, and all of his uniforms now have that animation as a total iframe. So it's a lot of survivability packed into a skill that you want to use regularly because it's got a lot of damage. Also, his 5th skill, One-Off, is now a full iframe with a pierce effect. So you can now use 2 iframes plus a guard hit on all of his uniforms, and he's got pierce. The super armor is not super important, but the barrier is pretty nice. It allows him to take down some of the other kind of, old forgotten meta characters like Silks, like Loki's, by piercing their barriers and continuing to do damage. 90% clip when you level it up, so it's not bad, and the damage has been improved. In addition, the 5th skill, 4th skill, and 3rd skill damage have been tweaked a little bit. To be honest, I didn't notice, at least at tier 1 with my setup, which just has all his gears maxed, semi-offensive ISO set, and a pretty offensive but not great obelisk with crit rate and all defense. The crit rate is kind of helpful, but he has a low crit damage, so it doesn't do a lot for the character. But with his gear, I still found his damage to be a little bit lackluster at tier 1. I know he does get a huge bump at tier 2. He has one of the highest bonus skill damage effects in the game, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I can see the survivability absolutely, and it shows by his ability to easily solo a Shadowland stage, as you will see very soon. But I did still find his damage to be a little bit lackluster, especially considering that all of the skill damage numbers that they listed in the patch notes indicated that he was getting a bump overall, and I just didn't feel like that bump was really reflected in the character. He still felt like she was doing the same amount of damage, just that he wasn't taking that damage in return, so he could actually survive the fight.
Miles, yeah. Coulson, probably not by himself. He struggles in Shadowlands because his summons are differently typed than he is. So he struggles to do damage, because he only really has one good skill, the 4th skill. I'd rather stun Blade anyways, because his 5th skill is like a disaster. If you get hit by his 5th skill, it's like over. Ideally you want to stun them both, of course, but can't always do that. Punish is really pissing me off. Yeah, this is gonna be tight. Maybe not if his uniform never procs. He procced in the last fight on the earlier stage.
Overall, I think it's a great update to the character nonetheless. I do still await an updated uniform. I know Tony has so many different marks of his classic Iron Man suit that we have, you know, still yet to see in the game, and Netmarble can really pick up some awesome uniforms and really recreate this character the way that they did for Hobo Spidey, the way that they did for Iron Fist with the Netflix uniform. So I am still waiting on that, but I do think Iron Man is a lot closer to characters like Black Widow and Captain America now than he ever was. I still think he's a little bit below them, especially compared to Captain America with his new uniform and all of those extra effects. You know, Tony's uniform just adds a little bit more damage to one of his skills. It's very simplistic. Really not a lot given to the uniform except for the stats and for the iframe on crash landing, but it's a very, very brief iframe, so it's not so great. Overall, though, I would say if you have an Iron Man, especially if you have one tier 2, don't be embarrassed anymore. Iron Man can hang with the big boys now. Spider-Man, on the other hand, in the midst of all of the uniform kerfuffle, did get a lot of upgrades to basically all of his sub uniforms. So everything from Renew Your Vows, Classic, Civil War, and All New, All Different. So any version of Spidey that you have will be stronger now than ever before. What did he get? Well, he got an iframe on his 5th skill, which is very useful. He also got an iframe on his 2nd skill to complement the iframe on his 3rd skill. So whichever version of Spidey you're rocking with now has 3 iframes that you can use on command. You can almost chain them together even with his classic outfit. I was testing it out in Extreme Alliance Battle just to see with max skill cooldown, and there's just a bit of a gap of about 1 to 1.5 seconds where you have to kite around. Otherwise, even without a uniform, Spidey can almost perfectly maintain iframes like Robbie Reyes, Vulture, and other characters, which is fantastic for his survivability. But in addition to that, Spider-Man did get buffs to most of his skills in terms of their damage. He got an extra hit on Wrecking Web, which basically adds free damage, and other skills got damage bumps as well, including Web Swing Kick, which on some of his other uniforms, not his default look, has an improved animation. Spider-Man's case, I feel, is a little bit better than Iron Man's. Although Spider-Man was in a better place to begin with, he now becomes ultra tanky in terms of his survivability when played manually, because you can very easily rotate through iframes, and using his CC from his webbing, it's almost impossible to lose as long as you can do enough damage on a Shadowland stage, for example. All of the crowd control, all of the iframes make him incredibly, evasive just like the Spider-Man we've come to know and love from comics and movies. So I do think that Spider-Man got a really solid upgrade, especially considering that you don't need any uniform to take advantage of the majority of these changes. Now, without a uniform, Spider-Man's damage is going to be on the low end. It always has been as a speed character. But even if you do have Civil War, I was able to beat Thanos, as you will see, using both his regular Civil War uniform and his newer uniform from Homecoming. Of course, it took longer with Civil War because the 4th skill deals a lot less damage without all of those swinging taxi cabs, but he was still able to do it, and with all of those iframes, it is very difficult to lose. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, Thor is a striker? That's no good. I hate the flash. I hate when there's a flash because of the strikers. This is really easy. Wow, they made the 2nd skill an iframe. Holy cow, dude. Like an instant iframe. There's nothing Thanos can do. He's in a glass case of emotion. Nope. So overall, I would say that these are some really solid upgrades that Netmarble has made to these iconic characters, and I really appreciate the fact that they're doing it for all of the iterations of the character, not just the newest uniform. They could kind of spite the community in that way and kind of force you to buy one of the newer uniforms, but by allowing all of the different iterations of these characters to take advantage of these upgrades, it's really paying some back for all of the months that you've had these characters if you built them up and they weren't as good as you expected. So I hope you guys can appreciate this overview. I hope you guys can appreciate the clips that you're about to see. And of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.